On this episode, we talk about Did We Die in 2012? The multiverse, and are aliens actually humans who time travelled back to us? So grab the popcorn, turn the lights off, and prepare to be scared.
Hello everyone and welcome to Gab, in other words, Ghosts, Aliens and Beyond. It's me again, your host, and pretty much the co-host, Simon. Welcome back, Simon.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm here again.
Thanks for
having a wonderful world of ghosts, aliens and beyond.
We are back, and if you're seeing the video portion of this, you'll see that he's a lobster and I'm Donald Trump.
Yeah, well, I can't seem to get the camera right on here, so I'll just look like a lobster.
It doesn't matter, people, because if you want the whole show, as you know now, you've got to go on to the actual podcast on almost all good podcast networks, apart from Podbean, because they don't like sharing with anyone else.
Yeah, that's Podbean for you.
Yes, us. Well, other great other great podcast apps are out there.
Definitely.
Well, anyway, mate, how you been?
I've been okay. I've been pressing stuff. Sorry, I've been pottering about, working, doing research for yourself, and just enjoying life to the max at the moment.
That's brilliant. And you been up to anything interesting though, apart from work and podcasting? Been in anywhere?
I went to a theme park just over the last weekend.
What would that theme park be called?
That theme park will be called Alton Towers. Speaking of Ghost Aliens and Beyond, I actually did do a spooky thing as well while I was there. I went to the Alton Towers dungeon.
Oh, what's that?
It's like the dungeons that you got in York and in London, Edinburgh, Warwick Castle, and it's just it's like a stage show where you walk through. It's like a little scare attraction as you go through and they show you different things. They had a bit on the Black Death, the torture scene where they pretend they're torturing people. Obviously, it's all been social distance because of the situation we're in, but it was quite enjoyable. I really enjoyed it. Nothing really spooky. There was a couple of frights in it where they had a lady from, I can't remember her actual name, but everyone just went pitch black and then she appeared right in front of you and then moved on to the next group and then lights went off and moved to the next group.
But she did keep at least 1.5 meters away, didn't she?
Yes, they did. Yeah, they did social distancing. I thought it would be quite difficult to do in a dungeon because I've done quite a few of the dungeons in the past. But no, it worked out pretty good. It was a few jump scares.
And Alton Towers also do a Halloween event.
Yeah, they do Scarefest in October this year. I believe it's still going ahead, but they're advertising it, but I didn't see any construction starting yet. So, and usually by, I'd say the end of July, which have just went, and beginning of August, they've usually got some of the houses built in containers, and there was no sign of any of the containers up there. So, how they're going to do it, I don't know. But yeah, I believe so. They are doing a Scarefest this year.
Well, obviously, you and me were meant to be in Orlando September for Universal's Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah, definitely we were.
But if people want to hear about that more, behind Simon is where you'll hear about it.
Yeah, behind it, and you will also find a vlog from Alton Towers that I've done as well. It'll be on the YouTube page, which I don't think is on here, but just put TEF Pod in YouTube and it'll come up.
Yeah, and if it gets up quick enough, or I'll add it to the show notes at another time, and it will eventually be there.
It should be up in the next couple of days anyway.
It's really good. So everybody's probably wondering right now, as I'm going to be changing the screen views as we speak, wondering what's going on. Pretty much this one we've decided to talk about something else what caught my eye a few weeks ago, and it's been a very interesting topic. It's about 2012, and did we all sort of die then and move to another alternate, very like our universe, or sort of thing like that? Now, Simon, if you would like to quickly explain how this might have happened, though.
Yeah, well, you came to me because obviously I'm the bit of the science, well, the sciencey, science fiction geeky side of it. And there is one explanation that could create a parallel universe similar to ours would be from the Large Hadron Collider in CERN's in Switzerland, because they are messing about with very, 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 very fast particles that create black holes. And a side effect of some black holes could potentially be a parallel universe. But to put it into perspective, I'm going to call it the LHC from now on, because I can't keep saying that word because I will mess it up, because I always do. But the LHC is 27 kilometres long in a huge circle, and it goes in and out of France as well as Switzerland. So you can imagine this thing is absolutely huge, and it's underground, and it smashes microscopic particles together at very, 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 very high speeds and creates black holes. And to see what the effects are.
Also, what they're thinking, this did happen in 2012 and it pretty much blew up our consciousness, I should say the word right, is moved across to a parallel Earth was literally the same, but they reckon they found the God particle and this was the problem, and literally from 2012, in a way, we all died.
Yeah, they have actually found the Higgs boson particle, and they've actually found dark matter. So what people have been researching for hundreds of years into the dark matter side, they found in a few years of research with that machine. So the verge of, and it's saying on here, on one of the articles I've read, it's on the verge of smashing its way into another dimension. So that's it. That's actually in the article. So it does sound like they may have actually done it, because the main thing that they're bringing, it comes into a past episode that you've had before on here. It's the Mandela effect, because they're saying if we are in an alternative universe, some people remember the old one and some people are mixing with the new one, and that's where the Mandela effect has come into it. Because obviously, if you know what the Mandela effect is, everyone thought that Nelson Mandela died in prison in 92 or 93.
I can't remember the year.
But, that's why it was called the Mandela effect, because thousands upon thousands of people remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison, but he never actually did die in prison. But if we're in an alternative reality, he could have died in that reality, but we're in a different reality, so he's alive in this one. It's weird.
It is mind-blowing, people, and if you go on YouTube, I'm warning you, you could be...
Yeah, you're going to a rabbit hole.
It's a rabbit hole. You're going to be sitting there for hours watching stuff, and then you're going to want to research it. There's so much out there. I kind of believe it myself personally. I think it has happened. Also, the other rumor is this, because two parallel universes have collided together, us two, and we've moved more into the other one. All these disasters that were happening right now around the world, bushfires, volcanoes, a pandemic, unfortunately, it's the parallel universe is sort of acting up, and they're trying to, so the Earth's just trying to react and get used to its new existence as it is, and it's just like a child acting up. It will get used to it, and then it should all calm down. That's the theory. Quite frankly, I hope that's the theory, because if it has happened and we tear each other apart, well, we really ain't going to be around much longer. Yeah,
because they say if parallel universes do cross, they can also have the chaos effect, where things are intermingling. You see things are happening. Like one thing could happen in one universe, which still affects the other one if they've been crossed over with the chaos theory. So, when they found the God particle, which is the Higgs boson particle, and created a mini black hole, they also simulated the Big Bang.
I did not know that.
Yes. So if they've simulated the Big Bang, have they created a universe and we're actually being crossed over into that one? That's another theory that's going around. So I can see your face now. It's actually that's just baffled your brain on that one.
No, it's not baffled. It's got me thinking. Maybe they know our universe and our galaxies and all that has coming to an end, and
we've moved over. But
they can't tell us that because the human mind is not prepared for it yet.
No, it's not. It's actually frightening to think about what they've actually been doing, because science has been going thousands and thousands and thousands of years. There's always been scientists and mathematicians, but these guys with this LCH or LHC, whichever one it is, have just made science go from there to off the scale in a matter of years. And it's just the stuff they've been doing could cause massive effects that we don't know about, because obviously you can't find the after effects of something unless it's actually happened. So are we in the alternative reality? Have we all died and gone to a different one? Are we a simulation now? Because our brains can't cope with the fact that we've been moved over. I don't know.
I would like to say, by the way, if you're hearing any background noise today, my dog has decided to join me for the podcast, and he's not usually.
Oh, he always.
I've been at work all day, and I went and got a haircut straight after work, so I haven't been home. So now he's just trying to get comfortable in the room with me, and just a loyal little mate, I suppose. So he wants to be part of the podcast. So if you hear any background, that's the dog.
Not to worry, is it? Not to worry.
No, getting back to your thing about the alternate universes and our minds and that, it also gets to the point about the human consciousness, what we've never been able to fully explain or prove. Now, if we've gone to an alternate universe,
are you going on about how much of the brain we use?
Our old bodies could be left in the old one, and we could be in new bodies, because in the old one, clearly I was slim and had great hair.
What, like mine?
Oh God, 70 show.
I know. I don't know we're going to do that, but
no,
I don't know if that would work, because is your consciousness attached to your body? That's the thing.
I don't think it is, personally. I think the body's just a vessel.
So our brain's a giant computer that can move. Well, yeah, technically our brain would be a giant computer, wouldn't it? But would we be able to move our consciousness to another vessel, as you say?
Well, that's the thing. That's why I think things are slightly different on different parallel Earths, because we move to another vessel which is literally exactly the same as there's certain differences. So things that people can remember from their childhood, and their friends are like, I don't know what you're talking about, mate, but it's a vivid memory to you. What's another Mandela effect, really? Just because it's not famous, you think you're being stupid, you might think you've lost the plot, but it did happen probably. So you have moved your consciousness like a hard drive on a computer.
Yeah. Well, saying that though, you could also say the deja vu could be part of it as well, because you're remembering something. And have you already done this in the other universe? And now you're in this new parallel universe, you're catching up, and that's where the deja vu kicks in. So it's like you can go into a rabbit hole for how long is this podcast? We could spend hours on this.
I have tried it a few times to test this parallel universe, because they said multiverse is what means there could be thousands to millions. Anything could happen. I have tried it before, and I will try it now. If there's a multiverse out there, there's a multiverse out there when Doctor Who is real. And any second now, the TARDIS is going to show up right behind me. Me and the Doctor are going to go some great adventures. And I'm going to be more like Catherine Tate's character, Donna, who's got a sense of humour.
That all just went straight over my head because I've never watched Doctor Who.
Well, I'm looking around and there is no TARDIS, so that could take away. But that also brings you on to the point of, if there is a multiverse, and anything can happen in any verse, right? So, in theory, there's got to be a multiverse when there is a real God and Jesus. Then,
yeah, potential. Well, that's it. The whole point of multiverse is every possibility is out there. So, us talking about this podcast is making an effect in one of the multiverses, because in another multiverse, we might not be having this conversation.
Yeah,
that makes sense. So, the listener is listening to this podcast, but if he wasn't listening to this podcast, what would in the other multiverse would they be doing, or watching it on YouTube?
Yeah, because something as simple as listening as a podcast, they could have been sitting there at work, had the podcast on, hopefully enjoying it, so they're sitting there doing their work. But another one, they might be bored out of their head, and they might have walked to another part of the office, talked to someone else, what changed the effects of their lives.
Yeah, well, it's also the butterfly effect, isn't it? What you do, like what happens in Japan, butterfly flaps its wings in Japan, they get a tidal wave in California. It's a theory. It doesn't work like that, obviously, because we know that the tidal waves don't come from butterflies; they come from earthquakes mostly. But it's just a rabbit hole that I advise people to look into, but don't go too deep. If you go too deep, you'll be in there for years and you'll never get out of it.
I suppose it's also when you think about it, the multiverse theory that how many universes could there be out there, Earths and that, when we just don't exist?
Yeah, there's endless possibility. If you look into the multiverse, there's an endless possibility. Because every action you take, every conversation you make, I sound like I'm singing lyrics here, but everything you do, yeah, everything you do will literally change in a split second. So the next words that come out of my mouth could veer me onto a different path than what I would do if I didn't click my fingers now. That could send me on a different path. You could do all sorts and loads of everything, but I would advise people not to dig in it too much, because you'll go insane trying to take it all in.
So the word I always forget, the first name of that collider, how dangerous can that collider actually be?
Well, with the particles they're using, they are super microscopic. It's very hard to even see them with one of the strongest microscopes we've got that you can buy industrial. But when it comes to scientific microscopes, they are huge. It depends on how big the particles are being smashed together to create a black hole. Because if they went a little bit too big and you create a black hole on Earth, that could technically pull in all of matter. Because as far as my understanding with a black hole is, it sucks everything in and it just goes into nothingness. But there's a lot of energy inside a black hole.
While you're talking about black holes, have you heard of white holes?
Yes, depends on what happens. Because usually a black hole is in science and in space is usually created by the death of a star.
Yeah.
Like our sun, which they go into different stages. When they get to the half-life, they either start to create into a white dwarf, which usually is similar to a white hole, but then shrinks into a black hole, but starts as a white hole, and it's all about the timing. Or, example, what our sun is potentially going to do is turn into a red giant, which will mean it'll slowly explode, bigger and bigger. It will engulf Mercury, Venus, us, and Mars, destroy all 4 planets, and then suddenly implode on its own and drag everything into it and create a huge black hole, which potentially, I think, if I was reading it correct, will pull in the rest of the solar system, rest of the planets in the solar system, and destroy our solar system.
Right, mate, we're going to have a little break here, and then we're going to go into something else I saw online. I don't know if I told you about it, but it might baffle you. So everyone, we'll be back straight after this break. Welcome to the Epic Florida Podcast.
Yes, you heard it right. This is the Epic Florida Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Simon. I'm also with another host, Phil. We are, as we said, the Epic Florida Podcast. We're going to talk about everything to do about Florida, not just the theme parks, everything. And we mean everything. So follow us on the socials, Twitter and Instagram at TEFpod. And also, we have an email, tefpod@gmail.com. You know what to do.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that quick break we had. Pretty much the next one I haven't told someone about. I thought I'd just throw it into it.
Thanks.
Simon, have you heard the theory about what we talked about the last one? If time travel was real, that aliens that we see are not aliens, they are future humans in their newer form.
No. Never heard of it.
Right, so the theory is, and it's quite a famous one out there, you can find it on YouTube, it's everywhere. If I can find the links, people, I will add them as well. There's some really good stories. The idea is, human beings, as we look now, we looked very different back in the caveman day, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, hunched over, well, a bit like what I am doing now.
Yeah, smaller foreheads and brains and that.
Yeah.
So the theory is in the future, as our brains develop and get bigger, our perception will be looking in night time and going out into space. Our eyes would get bigger and our heads would get bigger. Does that remind you of anything?
Oh, a little guy over your shoulder.
Yes. So that would be the humans. Now everyone says that why would we need to do it? Because we record and we save everything. But it's been proven many times through human history that we've lost so much knowledge and stuff we've had before, what we've saved due to fires and that back then. But all this, like what we call technology now, what we think is great, could all be obsolete in the future. And they may want to come back to the human race to see what we were like, and they've got the technology to do it.
Yeah, well, technology is advancing all the time. Because, example, phones. You know what I mean?
It's not really developing better, is it?
Yeah, but no, what I'm saying is, what was it, 10 years ago? Or what? Well, how old was I when I got my first phone? I was 15, and I got the Nokia 402. And all it had on there was Snake, phone calls, and texts. That was it. And it's 15 years later, and now you've got like a personal computer in your hand.
Oh,
That's what technology's advancing at an advanced rate.
Yeah, so
10 years time, what we're using now, like you said, will be obsolete. Yeah. But we're learning more, and we're learning more about the human body as well. Because, like I was saying, tried to say it earlier on, we only use 10% of our brain. What's to say that we don't start to use more of our brain and become telepathic? Example, like what aliens do. They say they're taught by telekinesis.
See,
is that what we could potentially do? Sorry?
So you talked yourself into that theory of that they're not aliens, they are future humans who to us would look alien. But if we went back into the day of cavemen and that, and with our technology and the way we look, would we not look like aliens to them?
Yeah, because they were probably used to seeing mammoths walking around with a club, grabbing his wife by the hair and dragging her into a cave. That's a bit of a cheap joke, but to them we'll be completely different. We would be, because we will be the future, whereas, like you're saying, the aliens that we potentially could be seeing could be our future. But we're going back to what you did on the last episode, but if we do travel back in time, we can't travel forward. So where are these aliens now?
Well, yeah, that's the parallel. That's why there's so many different theories. I love bringing them up because obviously I had my theory that it couldn't happen. Then I heard this theory and I thought it's interesting because surely even to the human mind now, it would be easier to travel back in time than traveling across even just the galaxy. It's more feasible. It would be a lot easier to travel back in time.
Yeah, well, potentially our bodies couldn't take the speed of light anyway. Because of the G-forces that'll be involved. Obviously, time slows down. I did look it up. Time will slow down for yourself, but speed up for on Earth if you did travel in space at the speed of light. Because that's going back to a previous episode where I said I didn't even know which one it was, but see, my mind's being blown to pieces now thinking about this.
This is why I didn't want to tell you about this theory, mate. I knew it would get you going.
I'm just going to go to sleep.
Everybody, yet again, go down the rabbit hole. Check this stuff up. It's not something I thought up in my head. I find this stuff online.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely stuff out there.
A lot of stuff I do find online to talk about, I'm not going to lie, is a great YouTube show called What If. So go and check that out.
Good comic book series as well. The What If comic book series.
I've never
Marvel.
No, what if they're just science people this time?
I know.
People
I'm
do
just trying
things
to
like,
plug.
what if the Earth had no spiders?
I'll be great for that. That'd be fantastic.
No, we'd be dead.
I don't like spiders.
But we'd be dead.
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So it's not as good. So
go on. I'm intrigued now. Why would we be dead if we didn't have spiders?
Because spiders, like loads of other insects and other things, are there to help the plant. They kill off the locusts and things like that. They also fertilize a lot of things, what you don't realize. It's just part of the ecosystem. If they're not there, just like the bumblebee, it all goes to pot.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I will send you the link to that if anybody's interested. There's another link I'm going to have to add to the show notes if I can find it again.
You're gonna have a lot of links at this.
Yes.
Right?
Well, this is one of them episodes.
Here's a question for you: if we could travel back in time, what particular time in history would you want to go back into? Just if you could go back, it's a theory, you could go back for a day, a week, but you could still come back. You don't have to stay there. Where would you, if you only had one place to visit, where would you want to visit?
China, 2019, in a biolab. I think everyone knows what I mean by that.
Yeah. So,
But
if you're wondering what I'd do,
nah, too risky. I would like to go back to the time of cowboys and that personally, mate. I know it wasn't too long ago.
1880s.
Yeah, I just think it doesn't seem that long ago, but the way the world's changed so much, it'd be just interesting to see how they did live. I mean, we've got all the movies and that, but come on, they glamorise it, and I want to see the real side of it. I don't want to see the Back to the Future 3 side. And people, if you're wondering why I brought Back to the Future 3 up in the last week, I've been to the cinema in England, and I'm not going to lie, it was great to be back in the cinemas. Social distancing was great. There was no problems, and I would have watched Back to the Future 1 and 2. I'm still debating if I'm going to watch number 3 though, because number 3 was kind of weak for me.
Well, you have to watch. If you watch the other two, you're going to have to watch the third one. Well, you can't. No.
Part of this chat today, we have done time travel, so it was fair to bring Back to the Future in it. It is its 35th anniversary year. I mean, it's all good going to the 30th year anniversary, but the true fans really go to the 35th. Ain't that right, Simon?
Here we go. So you're bringing conversations that we have off air into this now. Supposed to keep them private.
We can't bring all our conversations in, mate. We get taken off the air.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Well, mate, that has been. Well, you didn't tell me. Apart from the Jurassic era, what other era would you do then?
It might sound weird, but I'd like to go back to when the Black Plague was. I know weird. I know. Yeah, it is weird. I just want to see let's see how it was compared to what we're doing, what supposedly we're going through now. Obviously, I'll do it in a hazmat suit because obviously millions of people died of it. But just see what it was like. See what well, you hear this, you read up in history. People were running around in the sewers, and it's like
different.
It's like it's like the Christmas Carol. It's that time of it, that type of era, around the 1670s and whatever it was, or 1500s, when things started to slowly start to develop in certain countries. Like our history. England have got history dating back thousands of years. But you look at the American side, the Americans have only got a few hundred years history, unless you go into the Indian side, that's when they've got ancient history, and the Aztecs. So, yeah, I'd like to go back to very old England.
I've got another time I'd like to go back to. Ancient Egypt. I want to know how they bloody built them pyramids and that with the technology back then.
Like I've said, that little guy over your right shoulder.
People can't see him right now.
So
I told this little guy here. Yeah. My new little people wondering, that is the new poster for Ghost Aliens Beyond. I've been toying with a new one. That is the new look for it. Quite frankly, I wanted something a bit more dynamic, more in your face sort of thing. I just like the cartoon look, and that's pretty much why I've done it.
Yeah, and if you're looking at the video on mine, the one behind us is getting updated a little bit. There's a few little mistakes on it, and it's being touched up as we speak.
If you're listening to the podcast, you're seeing nothing, and I do apologise. Guys, I would like to say right now, Ghost Aliens and Beyond, as you can see, I've tried to make it more relatable now. I was a bit more serious at the beginning. Now I'm trying to have general chats and just have fun as well with it.
Yeah.
I would love people's feedback. So as per normal, Twitter at Beyond Aliens. Email me if you want to come on, if you have any supernatural aliens, anything story from friends, family, yourself, at ghostaliensandbeyond@gmail.com. And while we're doing that, and when Simon was talking about his background picture, and you're trying to figure out what it is if you're just listening, Simon, take it away.
Yeah, so for the listeners out there, myself and Phil we've just started a new podcast. It's called the Epic Florida Podcast. It's going to be talking about everything to do with Florida, not just the theme parks and the mousetrap. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at TEFpod. You can email it TEFpod@gmail.com. We've got one episode out now, but it's episode 0. We are going to be getting episode 1 out, but if you go to the YouTube channel, which is TEFpod on YouTube, there's a vlog going to be on there from my recent trip to Alton Towers as well. So we're not just going to be doing just Florida. We're going to put a lot of different content on there. Maybe even Ghost Aliens Beyond might be on there at one point. We never know. It's an ever-evolving project.
If it goes on there, it will have its own little folder, people. It will be put onto a different email YouTube, I should say, different YouTube account. My own one is Rant Football, by the way. People check that out. But it'll be put on that one normally, the little bits, but we will put a folder on the other one, because what we're going to try and do is integrate everything to one place. So if you like all things what we do, you can just find it in one place on the long run, so you don't have to go chasing around and have different subscriptions all the time.
Yeah. Well, we'll probably be linking everything into each other's podcasts anyway. So
before we go any further, Rant Football, people, I should tell you, Rant Football, if you do watch it or on YouTube, it's obviously our Premier League predictions between 4 of us right now who predicted Premier League scores. Fortunately, Donna won it. I'm embarrassed by that, but well done, Donna. It's got a new email address. It's rantfootball1@gmail.com, and it has got a new Twitter handle. I can't remember it. I think it's rantfootball1 @rantfootball1, but I'm not 100% sure. Again, all that stuff, Epic Florida Podcast, Ghost and Beyond, all the Twitter handles, including Rant Football.
Yes,
all that.
you are right. Rant Football 1.
See, I'm getting good at it, people. I'm getting better at this podcast and stuff. I like to think I'm still not a pro, but then again, I don't want to be too serious, because when people get too serious on podcasts, it's they get too much pressure on themselves.
It takes the fun out of it, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it takes the fun out of it.
I'm not getting paid for this. Simon's not getting paid for it, so we're just gonna have a laugh. So, Simon, again,
if you do want to pay us, it's fine. Send us a check, blank check.
Funny you say it. There is a way to get money on the YouTube account, but I have got no clue how to do it.
You've got to have 1,000 subscribers, so click the subscribe button.
Yeah, on all of ours. And obviously, subscribe to our Twitter accounts, our podcast, and everything we've got out there. We're trying to grow ourselves. We are brand new to the game, really, still. There's a lot more people we do know who's been doing it for years, and they're miles ahead of us. But we like to think, in our little way, we're getting there.
Yeah, we're plugging away. We're clutching at straws and catching flies. I don't know what the hell that means, but...
Yes. And at that note from Simon and me, I would like to say thank you very much, Simon. Thanks for being on again.
No worries, anytime. I'm always here to help. So.
And everybody, in a minute, we're going to go into an interview, and that will not be with Simon. That's just me and Paul. So from me to you, see you all soon, guys. Bye.
Stay spooky.
Right, people, if you're listening to this part, I'm here or watching it. The next part of the interview with Paul is only on the podcast. It's not on YouTube. So if you want that part, again, we are an Anchor app podcast, but you can get it on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, and many more out there. If you have a podcast app you use, I can send you the URL.
RSS.
RSS. Sorry, people. I can send you that, and you can add it to it personally yourselves. So, this bit is over. And if you want the rest of the podcast to listen to me and Paul talking about why he doesn't believe, get onto the actual podcast. Cheers, guys.
Ha ha ha!